Well, how do there, chums? As I, Captain Stephen, today, chums, for you guys out there in the viewerverse, I have an ideas video. Well, it's a wish list for 2022. Mind-blowing ideas, I hope. Well, to be honest, it's just going to be sort of one idea that I'd like to see appear in 2022, but it's sort of kind of an overview of what I'd like to see come into 2022, to be fair. I mean, I do have an ideas playlist that I've put out, all my best ideas. I put a card to my best ideas in the top right corner, but for now, let's execute a Monday. Let's hit it up. So, chums, I'm a bit of a veteran when it comes to playing No Man's Sky. I've got 900 odd hours on my normal D-save. Now, for any new players coming into the verse, they can hit up the Expedition mode, which is a new item within inside of the playlist. So it entices new players into the verse, and I thoroughly enjoy playing those even though I am a veteran. I've got my permadeath save here. You can see I've got 31 hours clocked up on it. I just wanted to get to the centre and pop that platinum badge. Perma isn't really for me, so the modes that I use the most is creative for making bases, just for throwing parts around and experimenting, and my normal save. Normal for me is the best sort of area for me to play, and it suits my playstyle terrifically. But what I'm getting at here, chums, is now that I'm so far into normal mode and I've pretty much done everything, and I'm as OP as you like, there's not much sort of end-game content. There's nothing that provides a challenge for how OP and godlike I am. And yes, even if I did jump into Perma and had the same upgrades inside of my exosuit and inside my ship and my freighter, I'm fairly much untouchable even in the permadeath sort of mode. The only thing that kills me in permadeath is if I fall through my freighter and fall into the vastness of space, or there's a bug that eats me alive or something. You know, that sort of thing. Or I get stuck in a volcano or something, you know? Anyhow, I'm going to hit up my normal save. So here I am in normal mode, and you can see here I'm on a planet that probably you've all sort of seen before. You're probably like, oh, I've seen that before. Another thing that I want to see is a lot more diversity and variety coming into the verse, just like we got in Origins. I mean, they said Origins was a new sort of staple, a new sort of foundation in the way that forwards, yet we haven't seen more variety the likes of Origins dropped into the verse. Now, anyway, back to the actual thing. So my multi-tool here, you can see here, is fully powered up. I mean, I've got a better one than that, does more damage, but my ship is fully powered up, and I've got a freaking freighter and a whole fleet that is S-class. Every single one of my frigates is an S-class frigate. But then I'm sort of saying, well, why? Why have I done all this? Why have I bothered to get everything to S-class when there's nothing that really provides a challenge? No, there's not. You know when you're playing sort of like something like World of Warcraft is when you hit sort of like level 40, it opens up almost like another game. It gets a whole new breath of life, and everything else, you expanded dungeons and raids all open up. We've not got end game content per se in No Man's Sky. Now, Hello Games, they actually dropped in the settlements and foundations, and they did say that they had made it so Sentinels now stack. So Sentinels are going to get harder, people, yet they haven't. Nothing's really stacked to my sort of level. I mean, sometimes when I'm a new player, like when I was hitting up, the expeditions, I went on a derelict freighter and I got murdered. I got completely mullered on one of those derelict freighters when I didn't hardly have any shield modules. It didn't stack then either, so it doesn't do it at either end of the scale. There just doesn't seem to be much balance going on, and here I am getting blasted by a load of corrupted sentinels, which are the new type of sentinels that are supposed to be more aggressive than the older sentinels. Yet they are not even denting me. Heck, no, they're not. Yes, I can just sort of go for a merry little walk here. What are you trying to do, Sentinel? And I have actually got a multi-tool that's really quite cool. I've got like one that's got an incinerator module in it. Yeah, so yeah, the incinerator modules are pretty darn freaking gnarly. I'll show you it in a moment. But for now, I'm going to have a little dance. I'm dancing in the laser beams, just dancing in the laser beams. Oh, what a wonderful feeling. I got lasers in my face. Yes, awesome. Yes, I know, voice of an angel. Yes, I do practice. But you can't get better than sheer perfection. Anyhow, back to what I was saying. There needs to be more of a challenge. There needs to be also a sense of progression. Why go from where you start in the universe to the end of the universe to jump into the next universe that's identical to the universe you just jumped from? There's not enough variety in all the different universes to actually give me that sense of adventure either, so I feel that needs to be greatly improved too for the longer standing members. I mean, you can get through the universe in, say, about 30 play hours, and that's playing correctly and jumping system to system, going through all the lore and taking your time. And then you jump to the next universe and you're like, well, what was the frickin' point in doing that? There needs to be a sense of progression. So once you've got those 30 hours and you've jumped to the next universe, perhaps things get a little bit more difficult then. Perhaps then it starts to scale up and meet your actual exosuit and sort of OP-ness. But why have 256 galaxies that are all frickin' almost identical, apart from a few sliders have been moved, where you might get slightly more fauna in one than in another, or slightly more lush planets in one than another? It doesn't feel enough of a difference to actually promote that sort of level of progression. Now, I've just talked about going to the centre of the universe, but you can see here, my hub is in the 905,000 light years or whatever away from the centre. Now, if I carry on going in this direction and go to the outer outskirts of the universe, in the lore it states that Sentinels were pushed back by the Viking forces into the nether regions of space. Well, why not make it so we see more Sentinel encounters, and perhaps the Sentinels can get harder the further away from the centre you go. So then it makes sense that you're actually running away from something. But go this way, and you get more of a challenge. Perhaps you encounter new Sentinel types or something. That'd be freaking ace. Or even a new race or something out here. Something really alien. Or maybe make even the universe go more alien out here. More infested planets, and more sort of void creep or something. And talking of the void, I would like to see the living ships made sense of. Maybe make them jump you into the void. I mean, they come from void eggs. So yes, make the void a real place and make that be the challenge. Make that be the World of Warcraft level 40 sort of shenanigans that we're going to venture into. Perhaps you can jump into that sort of void creepy area of space, like an alternate version of the space that we're in, and actually destroy some of this sort of void creep to try and better the Atlas's predicament and the corruption and the virus or whatever it is that it's fighting off, this 1616. Perhaps we can turn the tide, being the travellers and being like an antivirus or something. I don't know. But yes, I want more of a challenge and more of a sense of progression and a gameplay loop. Right, there you go, chums. So that's what I'd like to see in 2022, but I would love to hear your thoughts out there in the viewerverse. Yes, please put them in the comments. So yeah, just to put a lid on it, what I would like is mainly just a sense of progression, because at the moment there isn't really one of those. There's not much of a gameplay loop, and there's not much to do when you get to sort of my level of sort of S-class in everything, people. Heck no. I mean, what do you guys do? Again, put it in the comments. So there we go. And that's pretty much everything that I've got for you out there. But if you want to see my 2021 wish list, I'll put it up there, worth a watch. And until next time, people, you've all been freaking awesome. Goodbye, goodbye, and goodbye again. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please hit a like and a subscribe, and I'd like to say a massive great big thank you to all of my backers over on Patreon and over on YouTube membership. Thanking you, backers. And if you want to support this channel, just don't skip the adverts. That throws revenue down my avenue. Or yeah, just stay with Captain Steve that little bit longer and hit something on this screen. There's merch here now too.